Hey guys, what up? Welcome to another replay analysis. This is a diamond level PvP. Today we're looking at Hamato. Hamato. We're going to be helping him get better at everything. What is he doing right? What is he doing wrong? Look at that mineral stacking. I love it already. Oh, baby. Alright. Nice. Not bad. Oh, okay. So first thing I would say, the little bit of a mistake you made right here, which was, I do think you should pull off a probe off the mineral line, if you to time it out so you can build a gateway properly. Because right now, you're actually just going to end up being behind for no reason. Like your gateway should be going down the second the pylon is done. I don't mind that you send your probe to build the pylon out of the nexus, but I don't think you should always be like, you know what? Let's just send a probe out of the nexus again to build the gate, because this gate's gonna go down pretty late. Like the fact that you have 190 minerals and you haven't even, and you're waiting for another 3 seconds just to send it out, that's pretty late. It should like already be there right now, ready to go. Gateway right now, like right as it finishes. So it's like 5 seconds behind for no reason, or 4 seconds behind. Things like that can kind of screw you a little bit. Like if we're talking about, if you're playing a macro game, it's not going to fuck you over really that much. But if you're playing an all-in, if you're going to get all-in, that is a problem for you. Like every time you kind of waste seconds like that, it makes you more likely to die to an all-in. Your second gateway timing though is pretty good if you throw it down right now. I don't like your placement's okay. I don't mind it. It's fine. You can just fill in a pylon right there. That's actually double pixel, so a pylon could fit there. Or double grid rather. It's not single, I don't think. Is it? No, I think it is single grid actually. But I think this gateway was built a little bit too far north. I think if you built your gateway down one, or is it? This looks so awkward. I think no, it's double. It's double. What am I talking? It's the camera angle I had. It was weird. It looks like one. It's actually a double grid. I was right the first time. A pylon could fit there. A pylon could fit there. That's fine. Whatever. I just want you to be able to wall off if a depths come. That's all I'm trying to say. And we'd have the ability to do that. I like the pylon stretching to the low ground though, so you can put like a battery right there or something if you need to, in case you get pressured if you want to do an expansion build. Core though, I honestly, my opinion, I don't know how much I like the core being right there. I would personally say maybe just like, I don't think your core is going to die, but I would just say in general, maybe put your core further over away from the ramp to give it less of a chance to die. It probably won't die either way, but I always feel like putting your core in a risky position right at the front of your base is always a little scary. I like your pylon positioning for your double gate. It's nice. But yeah, I would maybe rather have the core like over here more, so it's just a little bit less exposed. It's not probably never going to fuck you over, but there might be one game out of like 50 that might fuck you over, and it's a very simple change of just putting it like there. Because like for instance, what if this dude went for like a pressure build and you're natural, and he was like leapfrogging to your main base, and he kills your core from the low ground, and it makes it really hard for you to engage because you always have to go around the side and down the ramp, and he's over here like with a good concave or whatever. It would just be annoying for you. Again, like I said, probably won't happen, but if it ever did, that would suck. Okay. Nice mineral line, nice gas. I like that you prioritize the minerals as well, a lot.
Bo chicka bow wow.
Yo, Wookie, thank you very much for the 10-month resub, man. Thank you. Much love, man. Much love, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, this is something I'm not the biggest fan of right now. Just because I feel like this pylon already gives you a defensive battery for here if you wanted to take a defensive battery here. I think your third pylon should be maybe a little bit more aggressive. The reason why is because if you have to build your battery so far, like if your battery can only stretch out to like right there, If you can only put your battery like there because your pylon's so far back, what that does is it makes it really fucking weird for you to have proper concave in front of your nexus if your opponent pressures your base. I would rather you have built that pylon maybe like right there or something, and then had a battery like right here. If the game is not going to be like one base pressure, if it's going to be more like two base standard, because if your battery is super far back, again, like I said, it fucks you with your concave, because if you're too far forward, you don't get healed by the battery, and if you try to back up to get to the range of the battery, sometimes the nexus blocks part of your concave, so it makes it to where you have limited amounts of concave area, which sucks. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to put a battery or a pylon high ground like this for a potential early battery low ground, that's great. But third pylon this shit like there, this pylon would be a fine fourth pylon or a fifth pylon. I think it's good to have pylons in the back of your mineral line eventually. That's always a good idea. But I don't like it that it's your third pylon. I would rather you have the ability to put a battery in front of your natural if it came to that, so you could take a good concave and make him fight you in the choke point. Because right now you're giving him the concave to your convex if you put your battery there. See like how his battery's placed? I love this. I want you to do the same thing, because his army could stand right here and a big ass concave right there. And if it's fighting your army that's fighting in a smaller concave right there in a choke point, the longer the fight takes to happen, the more likely the guy with the concave is going to win. That's just how it goes. Yeah. Yeah, your wall's fine. I like that you have, like, this is what I was talking about earlier. I just wanted to make sure you have the ability to do this. Like, wall off. That's good. Your wall's great. Zero problems with it. Okay, the only thing about what you're doing that I would say you need to maybe make a choice a little bit faster on would be... So, like, right now you're prioritizing your second stock, or your second round of gateway units, which is another stalker for 3 stalkers in total and a sentry. And you scouted, he expanded. I would say, in general, you probably want to get a bit of your tech going, like, sooner than later. So whatever you want to choose to go for is fine, but like the second you've confirmed that he has a natural just like you do, you want to definitely make sure whatever tech you're going to throw down, you throw that down. And I would highly recommend, as soon as you confirm, oh, he's expanded, start chrono boosting your nexus instead of chrono boosting your gateways or the eventual tech. I would highly recommend chrono boosting your nexus now. Because if you throw out, like, let's say 2 more chronos or 3 more chronos on your main nexus and like 2 chronos on your natural, so we're talking like 5 chronos in total, you could be fully saturated. Excuse me, sorry. You can be fully saturated on your natural super fucking fast, which is going to allow you to have a bigger army in general, just because you can pump out more stuff faster. Like, you're not going to have as big of an army as, like, right off the bat if you're not chronoing gateways or whatever, but 1 shield battery could negate the difference there. If you had 6 stalkers and he had 8 because you chrono boosted his stalkers for a couple times, it's not a big deal. Like, you'd be fine if you just had a battery. But yeah, I would totally say start the second you confirm that, chrono boost your nexus immediately and throw it on your tech and prioritize those 2 things. And then gateway units can fill in the remainder. You don't really have to worry about getting all in right now, like right away, because he has a natural. So I think your tech is a bit late, is all it is. And I also think your chronos are a bit late now. Yeah, your tech is super late. Also, keep in mind too, the second you commit to making a sentry, if you ever make a sentry in PvP, you 100% have to make a battery. You cannot make a sentry and then skip a battery. If you do that, you will die. Versus players that are like masters level or whatever. And the fact that you both went double gate, if your opponent just kept making stalkers and you just made a sentry and stalker, he shows up and he can actually out micro you very easy, because stalkers kill stalkers ridiculously fast. And if he can pull back a stalker while he focus fires your stalker down, like, you both try to kill each other's stalkers, his stalker will last longer than yours because you have less stalkers. He can pull back his stalker while he kills yours. And then he can do the same thing again with the next set and the next set. So you will be behind if you don't have a battery. However, if you have a battery, this is irrelevant. The one stalker difference is not enough to break you if you have a battery. Like, you'll be fine. You will not break. He'll die if he attacks you then. And the sentry's nice. I understand why you made it. Obviously, for scouting and shit like that, it's really good. But just know you have to make a battery. You really do. Like, the fact that you don't have one is scary. You should make a battery as soon as you start making a sentry. Your first sentry. Okay, you made a Stargate. I would say, honestly, in my opinion, of PvP, if you're gonna go Stargate, you need to make this Stargate fucking fast. If you want to actually go Stargate, I think it is only appropriate if it is one of two things. Number one, if you're just gonna make it to make it, it makes sense if your Stargate is the initial tech choice. Like right away. We're talking like right soon. Like you make it right after your first units at your gateway. You make it early. That is a good Stargate timing if you're going to open Stargate because you get a lot of potential use out of it in that situation. The only other time I would ever say it's appropriate to make a Stargate, which is now delayed, which is what yours is if you reacted to something that makes sense. Like for instance, if you saw, oh, I'm going to go charge the Archon Immortal Phoenix because my opponent is going to go Stalker Disruptor. And I'm going to use my Phoenix to pick up his Disruptor or something like that. If that was your game plan, that would be okay. But the fact that you are doing a late Stargate and you haven't even seen a Robo yet, that just makes me think that you just like Stargate, but you don't prioritize it. This is not very good, I would say. Your Stargate is missing so much potential of what it could be. And I would recommend doing what I said a second ago. You have to honestly just make this shit faster if you like opening Stargate. I honestly think I'm gonna if I watch you make Stargate units now, I highly doubt you'll get anything done with it. Like I imagine you'll make Phoenix. If you make something like Oracle, you're not gonna do anything with it, or you make Voids. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this. We'll see how you keep playing this out, but I am not a really big fan of Voids. They're pretty trash units.
I am here in the shadows. Prismatic. Engaging the enemy.
You just saw Dark Shrine. And now you're making a Robo. Nice. Nice. And now you're actually prioritizing Voids over Stalker. Like you're actually kind of like foregoing Stalkers at this point. Obviously, getting Spy Block sucks, but yeah. So it looks like you might even be switching into like Sky Toss now because you're making a second Stargate. You're getting air weapons. So I feel like you're gonna go Sky Toss now. The only thing I would say about this that I'm kind of nervous for you in regards to is that you are doing nothing to throttle your opponent's economy. And if you don't throttle your opponent's economy and you just open Sky Toss, there's a lot of ways you could die. If your opponent just plays greedy, if your opponent figures out what you're doing, which I mean I feel like he knows what you're doing because he's scouting you with a hallucination. He sees double Stargate. He sees a Cybercore still upgrading after Warp Gate, which means you're getting weapons on air. It just definitely reveals you're committed to air a lot. If I were this guy, your opponent, I would just make probably like Blink Stalkers, and I would just expand and make a lot of fucking money. I would like go to 3 base, possibly even 4 base, as soon as I saw your third, and I would just poke you with Blink Stalkers. I would focus fire stuff of yours and run away, like blink away. Like Voids don't. They're not really going to be able to punish Stalker-based compositions because they can outrun Voids with Blink. Ikipu, thank you very much for the gifted sub, man. Much love. Thank you. It's just kind of like your build doesn't really feel like it's very threatening. It feels very weak. Like defensive Voids just sitting here, it feels like you could just get run over. And you're getting charged. We'll see how your opponent wants to play this out, though.
I am here in the shadows.
I like your 1 cannon per base because of the potential of DTs. I don't know. The only thing I could say about this one is I would rather you have the cannon in the mineral line, just because I feel like you made these cannons for DTs. This cannon is not really going to do much for, like, even if it was DTs, if it was by itself, it's just going to die super easy, way out exposed like that. And it's not really going to do much in the fight either if he were to like poke you in front of your base with like his whole main army, like immortals and stalkers and whatever. Like, this cannon's going to barely add anything to your army. Whereas if you have it in your mineral line near a pylon as well, you can surround it with, like, if it's next to your nexus, you can like surround it with new warpins, and it makes DTs get really stupid. Like, the DTs can't properly hit the cannon anymore, and you could have a much higher chance of losing no probes that way. Like, this cannon's great. You could easily warp in like a zealot there or like a zealot there, and you could block the DTs out from hitting it. That's a great cannon location. This cannon's fine. You could do the same thing. You'd like warp in zealots around it, or your own DTs, whatever you want to do. But yeah, this cannon's maybe a bit much. And also, if you're worried about DTs, I would say maybe add in one battery as well per base, so that you can actually heal a cannon through a DT. It fucks over people who try to send one DT per every base. I am very not in favor, though, of mass voids. I feel like your army is just going to get run over, honestly. Mass voids it feels not super good. Like, if you're going to go voids, this is my honest opinion. If this is the only way I really feel like voids would be intimidating. If you're going to open voids in any matchup, Protoss versus Terran, Protoss, or Zerg, voids need to be made early. Like, again, it's priority of the Stargate, and you need to be harassing with voids early on too. Like, you can use them defensively against Zerg to set up your third against like speedlings and shit like that, because that's very potentially going to be a thing. But against like Protoss, I would highly recommend you be aggressive with them. And then you just recall if it's like, oh, nope, we're going to lose it because now there's a Phoenix here or whatever. Because just going, I would rather you make something better than voids if you're just going to sit there and camp defensively. Like, I would actually rather see you make like carriers than voids. Or any like mass Phoenix than voids are just not great. Voids are not great when you sit on them defensively. They kind of suck. This unit's only good defensively if you're getting all-in. And you're really just trying to, make sure you don't die to an all-in. Like, your army is just scaling poorly. This is why I feel like if you do lose here pretty soon, I feel like that's a big reason why that's going to happen. Void doesn't have a lot of punch to it. And now it looks like you might start making carriers because you just made a fleet beacon. Also, don't get air armor. Get air armor after weapons. And I know you might say, but ViBE, I made air armor because I didn't have a fleet beacon yet. And you know what I would say? Don't waste your gas. Save that gas for like faster Stargates. Save that gas for faster carrier. Save that gas for faster fleet beacon to then make other things. Just do weapons, because now here's the thing. You started an armor upgrade, but now you're committed to it, and you have to now wait for over a minute to even start your next weapon upgrade. And armor upgrades are fucking irrelevant right now. They really are. Armor upgrades are not going to make this unit suddenly good. Weapon upgrades are what you really want to have for your Skytoss. And then you want to get all the way to level 3 weapons as fast as possible, and then you can finish off with armor later on to just make it even a little bit better. But Skytoss is all about how fast you can kill your opponent's army, not how long you can be durable and withstand the damage into you. Like, Skytoss either kills quick or it dies. That's just how it goes. And you're increasing the chance that you're going to die because you don't have weapon upgrades as fast as you should now. Like, just to give you an example, okay? A lot of people might not realize this, but one armor upgrade like this is worth 1 armor on about 65% of your unit's health bar. Roughly. Like, somewhere around there. You get 1 armor on not even the full health bar. You get it on like 65% of the total health, because this Voider has 250 and only 150 is getting armor, and it's 1 armor. It's just worth 1 value. However, if you get weapon upgrade on now let's talk about a carrier. This is the one you're making. This is your overall goal, right? And this is the one that gets crazy on. One armor upgrade on a carrier is the same thing as it is on a void ray. It's about like 65% overall, somewhere in that range. It's not always the same for every unit, but you guys get the point. It's just not the whole health bar. And it's always only one armor. But for a carrier getting weapon upgrades, each weapon upgrade represents 16 damage. So if you think about it like that, okay. Each weapon upgrade's worth 16. Each armor upgrade is worth 1. That is a massive contrast to what should be prioritized here. Like, the weapon of carrier is fucking massive compared to the armor of carrier. You definitely want to prioritize that weapon, because your carriers at the end of the day are going to do 48 more fucking damage per volley, which is every 2 seconds, as opposed to taking 1 extra damage off of your opponent's attack. 1 armor for whatever you have. Now, if you're fighting against a carrier, armor is good. That's not bad. I would say weapons is still priority, because weapon affects 100% of your damage, and armor only affects like 65% of your health. But like getting armor eventually anyways is always nice. It's just not, it shouldn't be your priority. So I think this is, you might not realize it, but this is actually fucking you over a lot. Like, you really need to prioritize that, because you're giving your opponent a chance to fuck you over through weird upgrade windows that you're having. It's like late upgrades. But yeah, I'm kind of scared for you though. These voids, this void opener army is like not great. Now here's the crazy thing too. I don't expect you to micro this like I'm about to say, but I just want you to know that this is a real thing. If you can identify your opponent is going for carriers straight up, if you can identify your opponent's going for carriers straight up, there's only one thing you need to be scared of if you make a certain type of unit. The unit you could make that would break the game right now would be Phoenix. And the only unit you need to be afraid of him making is an Archon. The reason why I say this is because the Phoenix versus Carrier matchup, believe it or not, Phoenix are godly versus Carrier. If you're both going Carrier and you both have full economy, nothing has really died in this game yet. It's super passive. You're both going Sky Toss. If either one of you went Mass Phoenix, that person should win the game. And all you got to do to win going Mass Phoenix is you initiate aggro of Carrier. Like, you initiate them to start attacking you. And what happens is Carrier interceptors go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They don't go 8 all at once. They do literally like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Phoenix do bonus damage to light. Interceptors are light. You can't click them, but they are light. They get fucking destroyed by Phoenix shots. They die so fast. And if you have like 30 Phoenix, which is the equivalent of having 10 carriers, because you can have 3 Phoenix per carrier because it's this equal supply numbers there, you could kill interceptors at such a fast pace that the carrier never gets full damage off. Like, you could initiate, like, aggro them, and then you could outrange the carriers. As he starts aggroing you and carrier interceptors start popping out, you could fly out of range of the carriers and reset it, and you could get like 10 fucking interceptor kills. And then you do it again, and you get like 10 interceptor kills, and you do it again, and you get like 10 interceptor kills. Because you can easily go in and out of the range of a carrier, because a carrier is like 4 times as slow as a Phoenix. Like, what's the move speed of a carrier? 2.6. What's the move speed of a Phoenix? Basically 6. It's more than double. It's crazy how much faster a Phoenix is than a carrier. A Phoenix is like the fastest air unit in the game. So it's super effective at just micromanage. Like, it does require micro though, but you can whittle down the interceptors out of the carrier, and interceptors have a very long rebuild time. So if a carrier literally is at, like, let's say 1 interceptor, it only does 1/8 of its damage. And on top of that, it has 9 seconds per interceptor to rebuild. So it has to wait 7 times 9 seconds to rebuild that, which is 63 seconds. It's over a minute of time to fully replenish the carrier, and all you got to do to fuck that over again is aggro it and pick off his interceptors. Aggro it, pick off his interceptors, get out of range, reset it, make them all go back in the carrier, do it again. And you barely lose any Phoenix doing this. Now, that is what I love to do to carriers all the time, and it fucking owns. And like I said before, all you gotta worry about there is if your opponent's rich and they have a lot of money, you just have to worry about Archons. And he could make Archons because he actually has Templar tech. Or wait, no he doesn't. He actually canceled it. You would assume he does though because you saw a Dark Shrine. You actually got it again. So now you actually know he doesn't have Templar tech. Yeah, it'd be great. Honestly, it would be a great time to go Phoenix then. If he doesn't have Templar tech at all, that'd be fucking amazing. Super good. But yeah. That's just it's a thing. I would favor that kind of a style so much more than Voids. Now, if you're not going to do that, it's not required. It's not like that is the only way to play this game. I would say the only other way to play this game would be to go carriers. Like if you're going to go Voids and he's going to go carrier, I just want you to know that Voids scale kind of shitty versus carrier. Like they really do. This prismatic alignment is like a double-edged sword because if you turn it on, yeah, you do a lot of damage, but if carriers actually get microed and kite you, you're like, wait, don't leave, hold on. You're like just trying to like buzz his ass down and he just like outranges you. Like you might kill like 1 or 2 carriers and then suddenly your voids just kind of like stop. And they're like out of range and then carriers actually can kill voids super fucking fast as well. So it's a little scary. So expanding, charge is fine because you can do run-bys with it, but expanding and then just making carriers is definitely what you want to go for right now. You definitely don't want to take a fight right now, if you can help it, because voids, you should not feel confident in voids right now. They really don't bring you a whole lot. Like if you turn around and fight this, I honestly think he'll kill you. I don't mind. I normally, I would be like, oh, okay, why are you throwing your stalkers away? But you're high supply already. You're dropping shitty supply, which I'm okay with. That's fine. And you should remax it into something better, like more carriers. That's totally fine. I don't mind that your stalkers just died, but I would say you could have also, well, one thing you could have done is you could have used this as an opportunity where if you did have the idea in your head where you go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let my stalkers die. What if you just backed up your whole army to like maybe right here, and then he backed off as well? Like you disengage, right? And then what if you re-engaged with your stalkers first, back here again, as your voids are now like right here? And then let's say because he sees stalkers first, he comes over here to defend stalkers with his carriers, and your voids fly in and they overcharge a nexus down. And then you recall out or something like that. Like that would be the kind of moves I think you should be making if you're going to make voids. And if you're not going to make moves like that, again, I think if you want to open up like one void ray, I'm not going to say that's the worst, but I don't really like the fact that like voids just in general are not great units unless you're going to like utilize them in some way. Like it needs to be all in defense, or you need to like go do some type of pressure with them. Because if you just have them in your army and it's just like part of your in-game composition, they kind of suck. They really do. Because what's going to happen too is if you don't focus fire them on his carriers, they're just going to shoot interceptors and do horrible damage.
Let our enemy know our fury.
Be careful with your probes too. That's so many probes in your third. This is okay. This is okay. It should definitely pull 2 off. And this is not okay. That's so many probes. That's 8 fucking probes excess. I like that you're taking to the base though. I think you should have taken it a little bit faster, but I know you were attacking. I would say the only way to fix that would be maybe expand, like pay more attention to your economy and expand before you attack. And then attack. So that the space would be done already and you could transfer new probes to it. So you don't have shit like this happening. Yeah, like right now. So here's the problem I would say you're having. You've remaxed, but you've remaxed on a kind of a shitty army. Here's why. You have remaxed on Zealots, Stalker, Void Ray, and now Carrier 2. You have way too much useless stuff in your army. I don't mind that you made Zealots after your Stalkers died because they cost nothing but minerals. You could have used that. Same thing again. Remember what I said a second ago about the Void Rays and the Stalkers where you could have had the Voids You disengage here, you make him turn around, you re-engage, and you have the voids come over here. What if you had you just disengaged him and left the stalkers and voids over here, and then you had all your zealots go attack his natural. He comes over here to defend his natural, and your void stalker re-engage this base and kill it again. Because I imagine he's gonna rebuild it, right? Like, if you're gonna make zealots, that's fine. You just want to make sure you're using something like multi-prongy, like creative ways to attack your opponent. Because if you just max out, and if you actually send all of your carriers, all of your voids, all of this at once to his base, your army is actually like a fucking wet noodle. It's actually not that scary because you have way too much dead supply. This is not a death ball. Sky Toss is supposed to be a death ball, but the amount of voids and zealots you have is not a death ball. Right now, so far, what production do you have right now? You have more carriers in production, but in total you have 6 voids, which is that's 4 supply per void, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah, it's 24 supply in void rays, and you have 32 supply in zealots, which in total is 56 supply. You have 56 supply. Or wait, what did I say? Yeah, it's 56. You have 56 supply in voids, or in crappy units essentially, voids and zealots, and then you actually have up to 60 supply because you have 4 supply in stalker, which is also shitty. You have 60 supply of bad army here. 60 supply of bad army. Do you know what 60 supply is? That's 10 fucking carriers. Would you believe that? 10 carriers is the same thing as your zealot void stalker, which is so much fucking better. So if you don't get rid of your crappy units and you take a big fight with him when he actually has double-digit carrier count, you're probably gonna die. This is not a death ball, and the fact that you're moving all of your shit together makes me feel like you're gonna attack him with all of it at once, which I feel like you're just gonna. This is scary for you. This is how you die. Yeah, you should definitely not be doing that. Like, you're compromising all of your air right now. Like, all these units up here, except for the Archons, are garbage. Even Archons are not like super necessary here, but everything else is kind of garbage, I would say, at this point in time. If your opponent has 12 fucking carriers. This is good, but because you're taking a fight like this, all that's going to happen is if you allow him to kill your whole army right here and your 4 carriers, he resets your carrier count. You do not want your carrier count ever to get reset. Like, you're still not, this game is not over. You're not dead by any means. You actually have a better economy than him, but you also have more of a mobile army, and he has more of a power army. So if you don't use mobility to your advantage here, and you just go for a power versus power fight, like straight up Deathball versus Deathball, who's going to win? He's going to fucking destroy you. The only way he wouldn't is if his upgrades suck. And what are his upgrades? 2-1-1. You have 2-1-1. He is not going to get destroyed by... Or, sorry, his upgrades are fine. He's going to destroy you if you fight here. Yeah, I really want you to get rid of these zealots. Like, I already know you're going to take a fight with it just by how you're moving your army around. This is super scary for you. So, you're fighting with like half the power, less than half the power he has. He has 14 carriers and you have 6. That sucks for you. Like, that does not feel good. And on top of that, now he even has a mothership. So, I mean, it doesn't have time warp yet, which is nice. It means it just popped out. But at the same time, like, this kind of sucks ass. Just, seriously, watch how fast your Void Rays die if he focus fires it. And then watch how little your Void Rays get done. And watch your supply in this fight just fucking plummet because you have way too much crappy supply here. Yeah, you see what I mean though? Like, yeah, I'm glad you disengaged that before you lost all your carriers. Thank God. I'll tell you right now though, if this guy knew how to micro better, he would kill all your carriers. If this guy would have like, here's the thing. Let me just tell you something. This is how a Masters player would have destroyed you, or like a GM player would have destroyed you. If I'm a GM Protoss player and I see this, I go like this.
Finally, our units get new upgrades.
Right now. if I see this, if I'm a GM Protoss and I go, that is a lot of fucking Zealots. That's a lot of Archons. That's a lot of Void Rays. That's even some Stalkers here. Holy shit, this guy has no carriers really. That's what that means. I can clearly tell that because look what his army looks like. It's like a couple ground units on the ground under it and all fucking air. It's all carriers. You have way too, like we already talked about it. You have way too much ground army. And if this guy saw this, this is how he should have microed this. You take the fight initially like this. Right now, all of his interceptors are out. All of your interceptors are out. Because you guys have both been attacking for all of up to 2 seconds each, which means it takes how long it takes for your interceptors to exit the carrier and get a full volley off. What could happen now is if this dude A-moved your carrier, or A-moved your void rays, like click, 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 he just kills the voids. And he move commands towards you while he does it. Maybe don't move command right just yet. Maybe move command after, maybe if he focus fires like 3 of your voids out, and your voids like lose the numbers, like they go from 6 down to like 3, and you lose, you know, most of your voids, it's much less intimidating. The point I'm trying to make here is if this guy move commanded his carriers within range of about that much of your carrier, right there, right about here, he could have killed all your carriers. You can move and shoot at the same time with a carrier because it's different. Like the interceptors are leashed to the carrier. The carrier move commanding or whatever is not indicative of the fact that interceptors will shoot targets. If I tell my carriers a move, and then I then say move command within the radius of where my interceptors are currently fighting, the interceptors will keep fighting. They won't just go back in the carrier because I move commanded the carrier. So if this dude would have move commanded his carriers forward towards your carriers, like right now, as he kills your voids, he could have been, that was like 4 seconds of time there that went by. He could have been like right here with his carriers, and he could have killed all your voids. Your voids would literally pop, 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 pop super fast. It's not, their voids are not going to live for more than half a second each void ray. Like they're going to die insanely fast. The amount of DPS he has here is fucking insane. He has 14 carriers. But if he was in range of your carrier, he could literally A-click a carrier, move command, follow your carriers. A-click a carrier, move command, follow your carriers. A-click a carrier, move command, follow your carriers. He could kill your entire army if he knew how to micro carriers better. And the reason why that would happen is because you don't have enough DPS to combat his carriers. You don't. This is why you don't ever fight with ragtag hybrid armies that make no sense. Don't ever go for a Deathball push when you have mobility instead. What you should be doing is you should be multi-pronging his economy right now with this kind of an army, not fighting his army. Like, for instance, send all your zealots into this base, wait until you see him at this base, fly your carriers over the top of the map, kill this base, instantly recall out when the Nexus dies. Do not lose any carriers. And you would lose all your zealots, and you might do some damage here, you might not, but you might kill this base and then recall out, you don't lose any carriers, and you remax all that supply that died in zealots into more carriers. Like, that's how you should be playing this. Not just accepting the fact that zealots are going to be part of your army. Like, it's... You deserve to die every time if you play that way. And the fact that your zealots actually didn't really die there is even worse, because that means you're still going to have those crappy units in your army.
Upgrade complete. Battle awaits us.
And the fact that you're stopped again for a second, that's super scary. You're going to probably lose more carrier. It looks like this guy's just A-moving though. He's not actually targeting your carriers, which means his interceptors are getting caught on your interceptors, which is luckily, like, thank God for you. But you're never going to win with the army composition you have. Ever. You need more carriers. If you're going to do this style, you need to commit to it. Like, you'll never win that fight. And now what happened is you just got reset. You just got reset. So now everything you just made just died. And now you physically don't have enough time to build a new army. You do not have enough. Like, this dude now has 16 carriers. You do not have enough time to match this. And he's already halfway across the map on top of that. All he has to do right now is move your base from right there to right there and right there, and the game's over. You're dead. Zero way you can fight that. which is exactly what he's going to do, right? Because you just threw your army away. So, I mean, that everyone's going to do this.
No more minerals in the field.
They're going to be like, well, I might as well take advantage of my map control now. Hey, yeah, boy. And there's no way around it now.
Mineral field.
You just got to understand the concept of Deathball versus mobility. There was no reason why you had to take the fight when you did. Because think about it like this. You actually, like, think about why did you take the fight up here when you did with your whole weird army? Because every second the game continues from that point on, if you don't take that fight, you have the advantage because you have more bases by 2. You were on 6 bases versus his 4. That's fucking great for you. That's super good for you. I would say I wouldn't even have given a shit if you kept making zealots if you just used them the way I told you to use them, where you just kept breaking his economy further and further and further. You force him into an all-in, and when he all-ins you, you know, you ideally could fall back to cannon, battery, and more carriers of your own. Like, once you realize, okay, I know I kind of broke his economy, and he's probably going to attack me now. Just chrono boost out the final round of your last carriers, maybe like your last 18 supply of carrier or whatever. And then also, if you have fuckloads of money and you know you're forcing your opponent to all in you, what if you made like 10 cannons and like 5 batteries just to help support your army in the fight? Like, you would crush. You would easily crush. So, a little bit of a missed opportunity for you, and a little bit of an impatient move by you. You definitely did not need to do that. And just know that, again, you really have to understand the concept of, if you are going to go for a Deathball composition, Zealots are not Deathball. Anything that is mobility is not Deathball. Zerglings are not Deathball. Roaches are not Deathball. Stalkers are not Deathball. Zealots are not Deathball. These things are not, like, Voids are not Deathball. Phoenix are not Deathball. Phoenix is a very... I already explained Phoenix, though, but Phoenix is like an exception to Mass Carrier. We already talked about that. It's because Phoenix are substantially good against interceptors if you know how to use it properly. Like we already described it. But yeah, you never ever engage with like 6 carrier versus like 14 with a bunch of zealots and voids. Like, it's never gonna work. Just make more. If you just made more carriers of your own and just went mass carrier too, you would have won the game, because your opponent would never have had enough. You both would have killed each other's armies probably, depending on who microed better. But you would have definitely done damage to his army. Like, look at this. Just for fun, just watch this. Let me show you. I guarantee you don't even do, like, 1,000 resources worth of damage to him. Like, you do barely, like, other than the cannons dying. The cannon, you do kill the cannons, which is a substantial amount. That's like 650. Or 750, rather. But you don't kill any of his fucking army. You kill, like, none of his army. Watch this. So we'll do it from right now, basically. Like, right now. Okay, we'll look at it right now because your last cannon just died. So the red Protoss has lost 27-14. Okay, from right, because this is where after all of his cannons are dead now. From now to the rest of the game, I bet you don't even do 1,000 resources of damage to him. And this is your real. This is like your full-fledged fight here. This is your army that is still at 187 supply versus his that's 199. It looks good for you, right? You're like, well, it's not. It's pretty close. But your army is actually worth like 130 supply right now. And his is worth 100 and probably like 180. He has a couple shitty units. You have a lot of shitty units. Like, carrier is the good unit here in this particular situation. So, again, 27-14. I bet if I hit play now, you won't even kill. This will never go above 37-14. And you just took a fuckload of losses. And again, you're taking... Okay, so the next fight you do break over it. But in the next fight, when you break over it, you've lost everything. You killed his mothership. And you killed, a couple of his units. But he's like still chilling at 190 plus supply. Like, and you just lost like 10,000 resources of units. So that's fucking painful, obviously. Yeah, just understand that concept. You cannot push Deathball styles with like hybrid or mobility armies. You had a hybrid army because you had like 1/3 Deathball or like half Deathball, really like 1/3 Deathball and like 2/3 mobility, because Void Rays really fall in the mobility department. They do not fall in Deathball. And you had Void Ray Zealot Stalker Archon carrier. Archon kind of fall in the Deathball department. Void, Stalker, Zealot definitely fall in mobility. So that was, yeah, your army was just weak. But overall, good macro though. It's a very simple problem to fix, and overall your macro is better than your opponent. So if you just fix that problem, I don't see you losing a game like this again. Like Zerg players love to do this shit all the time as well. I have coached so many Zerg players in the past that do shit like they'll switch into Broodlords and they'll push with like 6 Broodlords and mass roaches, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why? If you're gonna go Broods against like something that you need to have Broods for, why the fuck would you push with mass roaches? Like, it just weakens your army. There's no point. You just compromise your Broods and then they just die. People do this shit all the time. This is something that that's like a growing pain of every player in StarCraft 2 at some point in time. Just know that you have to understand the idea of a composition. Is it going to be Deathball or is it mobility, and play it like that, whatever it is. Yeah, that's it. But thank you for watching. I hope this helps. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. If you guys like this, go check out more videos. I have lots more videos on the YouTube channel. Repo analysis, coaching, and bronze GM stuff. So thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, good luck, and see you next time. Peace. Later, guys.